right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Championship golf is swinging into St. Louis.
We love bringing big events to St. Louis.
How the tournament will help the city and college students.
Well, it didn't feel like it today, but a cold front pushed through the area despite reaching 90 degrees. But this is how we're going to feel it. Lower humidity. What that means for us the next few days and why it's really going to start to feel like fall.
Our top story, fundraiser fallout. A good cause ended early by bad behavior. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. New tonight at 10, Fairview Heights police are investigating after a large fight shut down the Midwest Wingfest last night. It's an event held annually to give back to veterans and their families. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barcheski spent the afternoon looking into what happened. Laura?
Kelly, police say the fight ended in several arrests, and the organizers ended up making the difficult decision to cut the event short, which also meant their fundraising was cut short too. It's an event that organizers say draws more than 25,000 people every year. Midwest Wingfest in Fairview Heights fills up the St. Clair Square parking lot for 2 days with dozens of booths and live music, and proceeds benefit local combat wounded veterans and fallen heroes. It was going well until the last few hours of the event. Fairview Heights police say as soon as the sun went down, minors started showing up without their parents and were turned away, but some jumped the fences. They said in a statement, juvenile fights happened in the parking lot outside of the fence line. Several gunshots near the Firestone parking lot were heard by multiple people. Organizers tell 5 on Your Side this is the first time this has happened in 16 years, and they go through extensive measures to keep people safe. Quote, when it became clear that we would not be able to safely control the entirety of the situation, we coordinated with Fairview PD to make the decision to close early. Police say they had to call in other departments and ended up arresting 2 people for fighting. It's unclear if they were juveniles. In addition, several juveniles were pepper sprayed in the incident. They say organizers pay the city to have extra police officers at the event and place cameras all throughout the space. The statement from Midwest Wingfest goes on to say, "We are grateful that no one was seriously injured last night and everyone got home safe." While the event is over, there's still a way to give back. We have a link on KSDK.com if you'd like to donate to the cause. Kelly.
All right, thank you, Laura. Well, after last week's extreme heat, we may be in for a cool down. 5 on Your Side meteorologist Gary Frank. Are we in for a little cooler weather coming back from the Labor Day weekend?
Finally, I think we are. You know, if you just step outside, I'm actually looking forward to stepping outside, even just versus hours ago with sunset. You notice that pretty strong north breeze that is ushering in that drier, cooler air for us for a good remainder of the week. It's not going to warm up all that much. In fact, you'll notice from north to south, 68 in Alton, 74 in Arnold. So a 6-degree temperature spread, that's going to continue to usher in that cooler air. Look at these dew points in the 50s now. That's a significant difference. Even looking at Cape Girardeau, Mount Vernon, those numbers in the 60s and even 70s, that's where the humidity is. But we've got a steady diet of exactly what it feels like outside into the overnight hours. And that's going to allow our temperatures to fall in the city in the low 60s, even cooler outside of the city. And as we look at the week ahead, we have dry and less humid air and cooler mornings. I mean, tomorrow's one of them, and then it's even cooler next weekend. A couple of rain chances and one spike in the humidity. We'll talk about how that impacts our rain chances and just how cool it's going to be next weekend.
See you then, Gary. The Show of Strength Telethon just wrapped up minutes ago and brought in over $200,000 in donations. Let's check in with 5 on Your Side's Mike Bush, who has been dedicated to hosting this telethon year after year. He is live at Grant's Farm. Mike, another successful night.
It really was, Kelly, and when I'm not crying because I'm so grateful, I'm just smiling from ear to ear, because every single year we come on the air and we ask St. Louisans to donate to this cause, to help people with neuromuscular diseases, and every single year they come through. This year we were able to raise more than $200,000 thanks to the generosity of our viewers. This telethon took place at Grant's Farm. We've been hosting our MDA telethon here for many, many years. The folks here enjoyed the night. They got to see a drone show, and they got to donate to our Show of Strength telethon. Rennie Knott and Allred helping me out. But once again, we raised over $200,000. I think, though, maybe the most memorable moment of the night was when Sarah Schwegel, who's a longtime MDA Goodwill ambassador and is now 31 years old, told us she can now brush her hair because of some new drugs. She's never been able to do that in her life. that's something we'll remember as we head to next year, Kelly.
That is amazing. All right, thanks so much, Mike. Great job as always. Tonight, police arrested a suspect in a deadly high-speed chase that killed an Osage Beach police officer. Christopher Aaron Bishop Waymeyer faces charges based on Missouri's new state law, Valentine's Law, creating the new felony offense of aggravated fleeing a police stop. Officer Felicia Carson died while assisting in the traffic stop. The new charges carry a sentence of 10 to 30 years. Police are investigating a downtown shooting that left 5 people injured early this morning. The shooting happened in downtown St. Louis's West neighborhood. Business owners and residents in the area told Mercedes McKay this shooting is just the latest in a deadly trend.
Just ran along from park to park to park.
Maurice Mosley has spent most of his life making sure people look their best.
I've been in this one for about 18 years. I've been in the business for about 55.
Known as the hair doctor, Mosley's shop, Paradise Salon, has called St. Louis's downtown West neighborhood home for nearly 2 decades, which is why crime on this street didn't come as a shock.
Overnight, I heard that it was a shooting, but it always happened like that. They ride around and look for trouble to get in.
Police say around 2:30 Sunday morning, 5 people were shot near North 19th Street and Washington Avenue. 2 women ages 35 and 22, and 3 men ages 33, 27, and 26 were injured.
It's everywhere. They're in cars. They're out in the county. They're everywhere. You just got to be cautious.
We spoke with someone who's lived here on 19th and Washington for over 17 years. He says he wasn't surprised to hear about the overnight shooting and says crime has always been an issue. 5 on Your Side looked back at shootings over the past few months in the area. Back in March, a woman was shot on 13th and Washington. Then in May, a man was shot and killed, and 3 others were injured also on 13th and Washington. And in June, a man died after being shot near 16th and Washington. Unfortunately for Mosley, he believes the problem has only gotten worse.
It's just so much anger with these young folks now. Anger and mad and blaming everybody for their miscomings, for their shortcomings.
While the list of what Mosley would change downtown is long,
God, so much, so much.
he still sees the silver lining in the place he calls home.
I don't want to give up. I don't think it's hopeless, but keep trying, please.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on Your Side.
If you have any information, you're asked to call the Central Patrol Division at 314-444-2500, or if you would like to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers. That number, 866-371-TIPS. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Wesley Bell is speaking out on the Marcelus Williams case for the first time since his evidentiary hearing. Williams is awaiting a judge's decision on if he will be executed for a 1998 murder. A DNA expert recently testified saying Williams' DNA was not on the murder weapon and the evidence was mishandled. Bell tells CNN the findings are raising his concerns about the case.
In this case, there are serious questions about this conviction, and at the very least, regardless of your politics on the death penalty, no one should be executed if there's questions about the conviction.
The judge is expected to announce a ruling by mid-September. New tonight, the Wainwright State Office building has been sold. Our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal say an unidentified buyer purchased the downtown building for $8.4 million. In July, state officials announced they're moving its 400 employees to a new office in Chesterfield. The move comes as downtown St. Louis is experiencing the highest office vacancy rate in the region. New tonight, we are getting a behind-the-scenes, or rather greens, look at Belle Reve Country Club hosting the 2026 BMW Championship. It's the qualifying tournament for the PGA Tour Championship, the Super Bowl of the season, which wrapped up today in Atlanta. Annie Kroll heard how it also helps caddies pay for college at 24 different universities.
Belle Reve Country Club has a rich history of hosting major golf tournaments like the 2018 PGA Championship, potentially bringing tens of thousands to St. Louis. 2026 BMW Championship tournament chair Edward Glotzbach wants to continue that tradition.
Depends on a lot of things, parking, entry and exit, what are the safety issues. But it is an active discussion as to, and we're obviously going to try to accommodate as many fans as we can.
In Colorado last week for the BMW, Glotzbach was actively taking notes at Castle Pines Golf Club as Keegan Bradley went 12 under. The 2025 U.S. Ryder Cup captain Keegan Bradley may have won this year's BMW Championship, but heading into it in 50th place out of 50 players in the FedEx Cup rankings, he's showing us that in 2 years, This could be anybody's tournament.
We love bringing big events to St. Louis because it really helps the city and the economy. You can show it off on TV. This one's extra exciting because the Evans Scholars Foundation is the benefactor of it.
That scholarship means free room and board plus tuition for caddies with financial need based on their grades and averaging 155 rounds by the time they're high school seniors. Belle Reve caddy Logan Forrester is one of this year's Evans Scholars, playing D3 golf at Webster University his freshman year and footing the bill himself. His approximately $90,000 scholarship allowed Logan to transfer to Mizzou.
It's just a huge weight off my back. It was doable. A lot of people do it. It's doable. It just kind of puts you in a hole and kind of puts you down for a little bit, especially graduating and then getting into a job. You kind of have a hole to dig out of.
These kids are exceptional. They're hardworking, they're focused, they're goal-oriented. They know what they have to do to earn this scholarship, and it is hard work.
In Town and Country, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
The BMW Championship is the largest annual fundraiser for the Evans Scholarship. Tickets will go on sale soon for people to attend in St. Louis.
A new group effort turning St. Louis into a work of art.
It's different, and I love that about it.
How the stigma around graffiti is getting a new paint job. And Labor Day travel, the trip back home making you wish for a vacation. We break down where to avoid to get you on the move.
Well, now it's September 1st and we're in meteorological fall, but just because we're still days away from the equinox, will it start to feel like fall this week? Some of the key factors we settle into and our next rain chance ahead.
This Labor Day weekend, thousands have made their way to St. Louis's riverfront to either contribute to the city's famous graffiti wall or just to enjoy the stories being created. Paint Louis has brought the masses out for 27 years. Travis Cummings introduces us to some of the creators behind the masterpieces.
We've been embracing this, right? It does feel good to have the outside community now seeing why we're so passionate about this.
If you walk along St. Louis's mile-long graffiti wall anytime soon, you'll see these massive pieces done by Christian Rodriguez and the Bronx team.
We decided to come to St. Louis and create a spider theme and bring a little bit of that East Coast flavor.
The family includes some of the many artists shaking their cans at the annual Graffiti and Music Festival, Paint Louis, this weekend. The spray and liquid paint is paying homage to hip-hop.
So you know the MC is the words of hip-hop, the DJ is the sound, the B-boys is the movement, but this is the visual.
The Mural Mile has stood on St. Louis's riverfront since 1997, featuring more than 250 graffiti artists from across the world. These creatives say they're glad to see appreciation continuing to increase for this art form.
Now look, people want it. People pay for this. It's different now, and I love that about it. We create something that everybody likes. Look at all the people out here. It's wonderful because it takes away, you know, the vandalism. Now we're doing murals. People could respect it.
This is transparent, right?
These artists want their work to inspire the future.
Kids could understand it. They might want to do that in the future.
You know, having them here is important, you know what I mean, to be a part. So we like to pass it on.
And leave a lasting impression of self-expression.
I hope that when they see our wall, they feel inspired, and at least they feel like we came and we gave it our all.
Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
Paint Louis wrapped up at around 8 o'clock. Florissant area police and fire crews held a community resource fair by Calverton Park City Hall today. Officers provided car seat checks, gun locks, fire protection resources, and more. Police say they hold events like these because many people aren't aware of the resources that are available to them. Just a month ago today, the Florissant Police Department took over the Calverton Park Police Department. Let's check in again with meteorologist Gary Frank. And hopefully this wonderful weather will continue throughout our holiday weekend.
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Welcome to September. It'll be less humid tomorrow at the pool. That's one thing, as we saw a few clouds develop throughout the day. One thing you'll notice from when we saw you earlier this evening, our dew points were in the 60s, and we talked about how the breeze was out of the north and it really started to rush. And we're going to watch this number start to come down. That's where we are. We're in the 50s right now. That's a big difference from where we were earlier, as we're at 74 degrees. Now, as we work our way into the month of September, it can still get to 100. We've seen 104 3 times, so it can get plenty hot this time of the year. It can also get a little chilly. That's only happened once, so we're not going to count on that. One thing we are supposed to do is get around 3 inches of rain, which, looking ahead, that doesn't look great. It continues to dry out And that's what we're going to look ahead to. Right now, still 74 at the airport, but 50s behind it. That dry, cool air settling in. We'll see a steady diet of that, in fact, into the overnight hours. So by Monday morning, look at some of the spots in the city right around 60 degrees, but look outside of the city, low to mid 50s in some cases. I think it's going to be a very cool start. So be prepared for that. I think it's going to probably fool you when you go outside and maybe have that extra layer on walking the dog or something like that, because by the time we get out in this afternoon, it's less humid. We warm up very quickly. It's really nice outside. So it's still pool weather. It's just once you're getting your spot at the pool on this busy Labor Day holiday, it's going to be a little less crowded because it's kind of chilly. But this trend continues for tomorrow. In fact, our dew points will probably slide into the 40s, which by the time they get into the 40s, I take this graphic, I throw it away, and we don't talk about it again until April. But we're not there yet, okay? It's going to feel a lot like fall is the bottom line, and I think that trend continues until about Wednesday, and when we'll see a little surface plume of moisture kind of come up here from the Gulf, and that's going to be around, and it's close enough that it may interact with a couple smaller disturbances initially. We may have a few pop-up showers and storms. I do look at another surge of drier air behind it. That's another cold front, and that's where we're really going to see things. But by Tuesday, no rain. By Wednesday, rain is around. I think the bulk of it is to the south. We may have a pop-up shower or storm. That may come Wednesday night into Thursday. Not a great chance for rain. And when we're talking about chances for rain and that 3 inches of rain that we're supposed to get in September, well, at least the next 7 to 10 days, I'm not really seeing that. I think we stay cloudy on Wednesday. It's warmer, and then we're going to see those slight chances for rain Thursday and Friday as it's not all that hot. And like I said, next weekend, it's even cooler. More 40s and 50s in the morning, more 70s in the afternoon.
I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis. It's time for On the Move, and I'm helping you avoid delays for this current holiday weekend. We're taking a look at 3 traffic hotspots you may come across while making the most of Labor Day. If the Lake of the Ozarks is your destination, it happens to be the first spot to watch out for. We're talking about parts of I-44. Unfortunately, the road construction on 44 is very similar to last Labor Day, too. You'll see repaving from Bourbon, Missouri to Rolla. The outer 44 is having work done, too. One silver lining, though, MoDOT expects much of this work to wrap up by October 1st. Number 2, maybe you're making a trip down to Johnson Shut-ins or Elephant State Park for a day trip. Totally worth it. Johnson Shut-ins is like a natural water park made in the rocks. But the construction at I-55 and Route 67 could derail you. Many will try to avoid it by taking Route 21. But there's some road work being done there as well. And number 3, maybe you'll be heading out of town by way of Lambert or picking someone up. Don't forget construction around Lindbergh at St. Charles Rock Road. Lots happening there, and that overpass is out of commission. So much construction being done on other roads too. It never hurts to try and hit the road at off-peak travel times, which are pretty obvious. Safe travels. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Unrest in Israel. Protesters call for change after Hamas kills 6 hostages. Right now, Israeli officials confirm 6 hostages in the war in Gaza have been killed, among them an American. The Israel Defense Forces say they found them in an underground tunnel during a raid of a Hamas compound. The hostages ranged in age from 23 to 40, including American-Israeli Hirsch Goldberg Poland, whose family recently spoke at the Democratic National Convention advocating for a hostage deal. Now more advocates and families of the hostages are joining their call.
The families have been warning about this. The writing was on the wall, and this negotiation has been taking way too long. They need to come out. The leaders need to do whatever needs to be done for them to come out.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Israel will not rest until those responsible for these deaths are caught. The news has sparked protests across Israel. Tens of thousands of protesters are demanding Israel's leaders reach a deal with Hamas to bring the remaining hostages home. This is one of the largest demonstrations since the war in Gaza began. Entire roads were blocked for miles as the protests went on.
We have to bring the hostages back. We need a deal now for his future, for our future.
Does he have a future today when you see what's going on?
We hope so. We hope a big change will come. We hope everyone will come out today to say, to bring a message to the government. We can't keep up like this anymore.
Israel's trade union called for a strike on Monday, hoping to pressure the government into making a deal. And while protests continue, both sides have agreed to pause fighting as fears of a polio outbreak in Gaza arise. Gaza officials recently detected the virus in the wastewater. Now Hamas and Israel are suspending the fighting so children can get the polio vaccine. Health officials want to vaccinate more than 600,000 children in the region during the three-day ceasefire. It's an issue that families in Gaza say is adding to their suffering.
We have been suffering for 11 months from diseases we have caught, whatever virus exists in the country. There is a lack of hygiene, lack of water, lack of food. There are diseases that we have never experienced previously. It will take us ages to express the suffering that we have experienced.
The UN-led vaccination campaign will run through September 12th. A milestone decades in the making. A woman just shy of 100 fulfills a lifelong dream. Well, it only took 80 years, but 99-year-old Georgia McGarry is now a high school graduate. The Ohio woman had to quit school in 1944 to help her family during World War II. School board members held a special meeting to hand McGarry her diploma. The current principal of her old school did the honors. Gary, one more check of the weather.
Yeah, feeling pretty good. As we wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to almost fool you a little bit because it's a little chilly to start, but then it's going to improve pretty quickly. Low 80s, low humidity, really nice. Maybe a little spike in humidity and warmth by Wednesday, but overall, below average, feeling a lot like September, Kelly.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m. Here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.